Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at Leonard H. Stringfield's research on the 1973 UFO Siege.
Yeah.
He called it a turning point where UFO visits stopped being just, strange and became strange and frequently frightening.
And that phrase is just so key. Stringfield wasn't just a guy counting lights in the sky. He was documenting a real escalation.
So our mission for this deep dive is to basically categorize this mountain of evidence he collected.
Exactly. We're talking about dangerous interference, physical injury, even abductions. We're moving way beyond simple observation.
And we should probably establish Stringfield's credibility right away. He wasn't some newcomer.
Not at all. His great awakening, as he called it, was way back in World War II. He saw the Foo Fighters near Iwo Jima in 1945.
From his C-46 transport, yeah. That moment basically defined his entire life's work.
It did. And by 1954, he'd founded TRIFO Civilian Research, Interplanetary Flying Objects. He was a veteran in every sense of the word.
Okay, so he's using a framework here, right? It's not just a collection of spooky stories. It comes from Major Donald Keyhoe.
Yes, and that framework is critical. Keyhoe set up 4 general classes of effects. It helps you objectively scale how serious an encounter is. It moves the conversation away from just what someone saw.
And into what someone or something experienced.
Precisely, into documented physical interactions.
So let's unpack that system first, because it sounds like it's going to be the map for our whole conversation. What are these 4 classes?
Okay, so at the baseline, you have class 1. That's interference. We're talking about EM effects, electromagnetic stuff.
So your car engine dying as something flies over. That kind of thing.
That's the classic example. Radios getting static, power outages. Then you move up to class 2. That's where it gets personal.
Physical effects on people.
Right. Burns, paralysis, even memory blackouts. Then class 3 is, well, it's direct confrontation.
Military.
Yeah. Aircraft crashes, planes disappearing during a pursuit. It points to a lethal interaction.
And the last one, class 4, that's the one that always gets the most attention.
That's reported abductions. The idea of, capture and study of human beings.
And what's so wild about 1973, according to Stringfield, is that suddenly it felt like every single one of those boxes was being checked, aggressively.
The sheer intensity of the 73 flap was just. It was completely unprecedented.
Right, you mentioned the number. In one 24-hour period.
October 17th, over 50 cities and towns reported concentrated UFO activity. This wasn't a local event. It felt like a global demonstration.
And the most common piece of that was the Class I stuff, the technological chaos.
Yeah, and it leaves physical evidence. The Warner incident from 1975 is a perfect example of this really focused EM force.
This is the one with the TV.
It is. A couple is watching television, it flickers, goes black, and this piercing sound fills the entire room.
Okay, that could just be a power surge.
It could be, but here's the detail that takes it somewhere else. The silver salt and pepper shakers in their china cabinet, they started to glow.
Whoa.
With multicolored light. And later, they were found singed with a black powder. That's not a power surge. That's focused energy causing a chemical change in metal.
That's energy we just don't have. I mean, not in that form.
And you see it again in the Cincinnati suburbs in 73. Mrs. Belcher's house lights just go out, her phone dies, and her poodles are howling at something.
But that was followed up on, right? The police actually confirmed it.
They did. In New Lebanon, a police chief and 20 of his officers all saw the object. But the really critical physical evidence came later.
The tree.
The locust tree. It was found smoldering from the inside. And when they extracted a fiber from it, it shot out blue sparks, quote, like a 4th of July sparkler.
Such a bizarre image, like surgical heat without a fire.
And this isn't a new thing either. It connects right back to the military. In 1963, a green UFO flew over Australia and it supposedly knocked out the Dry Creek tracking station and the Woomera rocket range.
So it can take out massive infrastructure, not just salt shakers.
Absolutely. This power leaves a mark. And that's where Class I effects can turn into actual trace evidence. Proof of landing.
Like the Putnam Lawn incident in 1975.
That one is so strange. A woman hears these weird choral voices. And then this perfect semicircle depression appears on her lawn.
But the grass didn't die.
That's the paradox. Months later, the grass in that arc was described as robust and a deeper shade of green, like it was fertilized.
So one landing is destructive, the next one is regenerative.
Exactly. Contrast that with Columbia, Missouri in 73. A bright silver object hovers, makes a loud cracking sound and leaves 4 deep holes in the ground,
How deep?
5 to 6 inches wide, over 3 inches deep. And the soil was so compressed, a 300-pound reporter could barely make a dent in it himself.
That's immense downward pressure.
And a tree limb 16 feet up was twisted and broken. So you have this overwhelming localized force that just, it defies any natural explanation.
Which brings us to the occupants, the humanoids.
Yeah. And during this time, the types of beings people reported just exploded. It wasn't your classic little green man anymore.
Yeah.
Witnesses were describing beings in diving suits, these strange hairy bipeds, and these really stiff, almost robot-like entities.
The tinfoil men, that's what they were called.
That's them. The cases seem almost absurd, but they're backed by credible witnesses. In Falkville, Alabama, Police Chief Jeffrey Greenhaw actually got photos.
4 photos.
Of a silver-suited, helmeted thing walking so stiffly, he said it was as though he were on springs.
And the story ends badly for him. The ridicule he faced.
It cost him his job and his marriage, which really highlights the risk people took in reporting these things.
And that wasn't an isolated case. Paso Robles, California, same year.
2 military witnesses saw 2 figures, about 6 feet tall, made of what looked like crinkly aluminum foil, and they had this twinkling light where their eyes should be.
So the description is consistent. Robotic, metallic, not organic.
And they weren't just being seen. They were causing harm. This is Keyhoe's Class 2, direct physical effects on people.
A jump from EM effects to biological harm is...
But it's terrifying.
It is. A boy, Gregory Wells, back in '68, he was knocked down by a beam of light from a UFO. His jacket caught fire. He had second-degree burns.
And the trucker, Eddie Webb, in 1973. Instantly blinded by a projectile fired from an object. He had temporary vision loss, about 20%.
What's the physical proof there?
His glasses. Investigators found the frames had been heated from the inside out. It suggests a targeted energy wave, maybe microwaves, that passed through the lens but superheated the frame.
That's surgical. It's not aimed to destroy. It's aimed to disrupt the person.
Precisely. And in Argentina, a man named Venturo Maceras had an encounter with a UFO and 2 beings that looked like bananas.
Bananas.
Bananas. After he had tingling in his legs, his hair started falling out, he had trouble speaking. And again, scorched treetops, the scene confirmed something was there.
And this all leads to the peak of civilian interaction, the most documented Class 4 case Stringfield had, the Stanford abduction.
Right, 1976, 3 women, Mona Stafford, Louise Smith, and Elaine Thomas. They experience an hour and a half of missing time after a blinding light hits their car.
And they had physical symptoms.
Painful burns, severe headaches. And here's the clincher. They took a polygraph test. The examiner said they were being truthful about the experience of the missing time.
Now, the skeptical argument is always hypnotic suggestion, that the story came out under hypnosis.
It is. But what Stringfield found compelling was the shared detail. Under hypnosis, they all recalled being on a table, examined by small, shadowy figures. And when they were shown a set of drawings of different alien head shapes,
they all picked the same one.
They all identified the exact same apparitional head shape, and they were questioned separately. That consistency is hard to dismiss as just suggestion.
And there was a strange aftermath, too.
So eerie. Mrs. Smith felt compelled by an inner voice to go back to the site alone. And later she realized 3 rings were missing from her hand. Rings that were apparently very difficult for her to take off normally.
Which suggests some kind of physical intervention.
It does. It really does.
Okay, so that's the civilian side. Let's talk about the military angle. Keyhoe's Class 3. This shows active hostility.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
You've got quotes like General Benjamin Chidlaw in 1953 who said, "We have lost many men and planes trying to intercept them."
Lost them. And Stringfield's Inside Contact claimed the Air Force in the 50s was losing, what was it, about a plane a day.
A plane a day. If that's even remotely true, it points to an active, undeclared conflict.
The Iceland case is maybe the most brutal example.
It is. A jet gets sent to intercept 2 UFOs. They lose radio contact. The jet goes down. When they recover the pilots' bodies, they have remarkably large, gaping wounds.
And their guns.
Their sidearms had been emptied. The spent shells were found in the cockpit. This wasn't an accident. This was a lethal close-range fight.
And then you have the Coyne helicopter incident in '73, which wasn't hostile in the same way, but showed just pure power.
That case is just staggering. An Army helicopter is flying near Cleveland, and this object converges on it fast. And then the helicopter just starts climbing on its own, 1,800 feet straight up. And the pilot, he has the collective, that's the control for lift, in the full down position. He was actively trying to descend.
But the machine was just overridden. An external force took control and pulled it into the sky against its own mechanics.
Exactly. It's this absolute non-physical control over a complex military machine.
So to try and make sense of all this, the glowing shakers, the tinfoil men, the vanishing planes, Stringfield started connecting dots that seem really far apart. He called it macrocosmic thinking.
He did. He started looking at things like Bigfoot sightings.
Why? What's the connection between Bigfoot and UFOs?
The overlap in the evidence. Stan Gordon's work in Pennsylvania especially, he found a strong link between UFO sightings and these creatures.
Glowing red eyes.
Glowing red eyes, unexplained animal mutilations, and most importantly, the creatures would vanish in a flash of light. It suggests they aren't just biological. Maybe they're technological or dimensional.
And the mystery helicopters, the phantom helicopters, they fit that pattern too.
Silent. No lights, they just vanish. And sometimes they're seen near UFOs. The Richley case is a great example of the secrecy part. A man shines a searchlight on a UFO.
Big mistake.
Big mistake. He was later harassed by a silent helicopter that terrified his dog. He became convinced he'd stumbled onto a military secret.
Which brings us to the big question, the why. You have two major competing theories here.
You do. First, you have the extraterrestrial hypothesis, the ETH. Stringfield and Stanton Friedman were big proponents. They argued the evidence for physical, controlled extraterrestrial vehicles is just overwhelming.
They're nuts and bolts machines from another planet.
Pretty much. And then you have the counterargument from guys like Dr. J. Allen Hynek and Jacques Vallée, the psychophysical or dimensional hypothesis.
And this one is much weirder.
Much weirder. It suggests UFOs might be a thing, or even a thought form from another dimension that triggers psychic effects. It tries to explain why the phenomenon is so bizarre and inconsistent, why you get healing grass one day and banana men the next.
The idea being, if it were just aliens and ships, they'd be more consistent.
Right. Vallée famously said, any technology that is far superior to ours will appear like magic to us. For him, the sheer strangeness is the point. It could be a form of cultural manipulation.
A trickster.
Could be. But regardless of which theory you lean toward, the one constant is secrecy, a cover-up.
You see it everywhere. Confiscation of evidence like the Mayer film or the Norwood photos.
Military denial of records for the Iceland crash.
Yeah.
That whole infrastructure of secrecy is still running.
It still is, right? Project Blue Book is officially closed, but...
But the Joint Chiefs of Staff still have a system, the CRVI's report system, that specifies exactly how military personnel have to report unidentified objects. They're still tracking them covertly. That tells you all you need to know. Whatever this is, it's still a major national security concern.
So when you put all this together, what does Stringfield's work really mean for us? You've got everything from glowing silverware and super fertilized grass to dead pilots and polygraph-confirmed abductions. It's a lot.
It is. I think the takeaway for you listening to this is that for Stringfield, the truth was in the measurable results. It's not about believing a story. It's about looking at the physical facts.
The EM effects, the burn marks, the compressed soil.
The polygraph results confirming the terror in those witnesses. Those are the facts that force you to consider that a non-human intelligence is at work here.
Which leaves us with a final, pretty unsettling thought. If any of what was described under hypnosis is true, the medical table is, the commands not to speak about it, what does that imply? What does this silent, ongoing monitoring of Earth by some advanced intelligence really mean for our future?
As Leonard Stringfield concluded, when you're in a situation red, the only thing you can be certain of is the uncertainty of what happens next.